always cool to see a well done, well shot noir because it's hard to shoot a noir. It's hard to shoot a noir well, at least. And then also like a period piece on top of that, like to really transport me back to the 40s, 50s, whatever, um, and make me like mentally put me there. I think this film really effectively did that, and shout out to the directing and the production design, um, and the writing because the dialogue. Oh my goodness, it was stylized, but it felt like genuine, like it felt authentic, like if like it felt like I was really back in the 40s. Like the way that they spoke was different from the way that we speak now, but intentionally different, and I like that. Some of the lines in there that were really cool. Like especially like at the end, like the way the older lady talked, some of her lines, I was like, dang.
So it had a really great sort of avant-garde approach to this concept. It's a very classic neo-noir setup built around sort of detective vibes and a very like sort of smoky scene, black and white aesthetic. And I thought they approached it with both appreciation for sort of the main aesthetic and the sort of academic backdrop of this type of film while trying to have a more modern dynamic. And I feel like the actors in particular really helped to build, to bridge that gap. Almost everyone was really great in both being emotive and creepy. I thought the old woman was quite strange and creepy, as well as sort of having a very sort of offbeat brand of humor that undermined the dark themes and dynamics that really made the piece seem more layered and interesting and self-aware than you might first assume. I thought the ending, from the very dark ending to the very bright music, really reflected that thematic arc. And in general, I just thought that the music in particular really did end up bridging what you see on screen and the way the cinematography was set up with the thematic ideas about what it means to be existing at that time.
What a wild ride from start to finish. I love the monologues from the two characters and getting to know them and what brought them into this line of work and how they got to be where they are sitting right now across from each other. And yeah, I thought that there was a really good balance of like character building but also world building and having that like on the edge of your seat action. um yeah, I loved this so much. I loved that the old woman like knew the guy and they recognized each other, and like that was a whole plot twist as well. Yeah, this was just a really really wonderful film. And it feels to me as they drove off, they're like kind of the new Bonnie and Clyde, and like maybe they're gonna go start their own little group to rival the other one.
I'm a fan of like mob movies and noir, so I think you place these two together super duper well. I love the twist at the end that, you know, they come together to outsmart the mob while they're playing Russian roulette and they both survive. And it's not something that you really saw coming, and you wouldn't think that this old woman would think of that. And I think that's a fun twist. It's a real gotcha moment. It was really fun to watch. I think the characterization was great. I think it was a fun twist. I think it was a fun take on the genre, and really suspenseful. I mean, you know, I want to commend the young actor in this, and the suspense as they're playing Russian roulette. You could really feel that build, and there were some great editing choices showing each of these shots and the reactions as well. And I think that was really fun, and it made that payoff at the end so much better. So really, really well done.
All the shadows were perfectly placed. The music went really well with this tone and theme. I thought that the main scene with the Russian roulette was played excellently by the actors. That they did such a great job. Just their acting alone ramped up that suspense for me. I thought that Frankie's reaction every time he pulled the trigger, I mean, it looked real to me, and exactly what I would expect from someone playing Russian roulette in real life. But yeah, my heartbeat got faster every time he was about to pull the trigger. Like I was right there with him. So I thought that was done really well by the actors, by the director setting the tone with the music and everything. So that scene was really cool. And also, I thought that the grandma character, Mrs. Pilly, I really loved the inclusion of her character and seeing her in this mob film. You know, a character you wouldn't normally see, but she does an amazing job in this, and I loved her inclusion. Her personality was just great, juxtaposed with Frankie's, to see just how hardened and she feels like she has nothing to lose, and I thought that went really well.
This film has this mafia vibe with the monochrome effect, along with the costume design, the 40s and 50s antique cars, and the language that somehow adjusted to sound a bit like the one we could use decades ago. I love the title and how they get into the meaning of the title and how this gets so personal and so emotional. That scene with the grandma at the end is so entertaining. Remembering the third grade and still holding a grudge for so long, it's just quite fun. And well, the interaction between these two during the roulette, playing this roulette, it was so deep. It was a very clever script. I totally enjoyed it.
This film is reminiscent of the old crime films, those black and white ones with like Bogart and a few others. It was very interesting. The twist you saw coming a little bit, but it worked. This woman was feeling very sorry for this boy. You know, they're both in a bad situation, so helping him. At first she seems unsympathetic and hard, but to show that she actually has a heart was a nice twist. It wasn't exactly a film noir dame. She was a hard, tough woman who was in the same situation as Frankie. It made it very interesting, and it felt complete for a 30-minute film, which is something a lot of the crime films fall a little short on. It felt like a well-rounded story where you understood it and you understood why the characters made the choices they did.